Imagine reaching into a pocket, opening an old coin jar, or digging through a forgotten drawer and finding a single penny that could change your life forever. It sounds impossible. After all, it's just 1 cent. Most people walk past pennies every day without a second thought. They leave them on counters, toss them into jars, or ignore them on sidewalks. But what if one ordinary-looking 2006 Lincoln penny was secretly worth an astonishing $3.8 million? What if one of the most valuable discoveries in modern coin collecting was hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone observant enough to recognize it? For years, collectors have searched through rolls of pennies hoping to uncover a hidden treasure. Most never expect success. Yet history has proven again and again that extraordinary rarities can appear where nobody expects them. Coins worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, and even over $1 million have surfaced from circulation. That possibility keeps collectors searching day after day, year after year. The story of the 2006 Lincoln penny begins at the Denver Mint, where billions of pennies were produced. The year seemed ordinary. Workers followed standard procedures. Machines struck coins by the millions. Nothing suggested that a future rarity might emerge from the endless stream of copper-plated cents pouring from production lines. But coin collecting is filled with mysteries. Sometimes a tiny error occurs during the minting process. Sometimes a die develops unusual characteristics. Sometimes a rare variety escapes detection and enters circulation. These events can transform a common coin into something extraordinary. Imagine thousands of pennies flowing through counting machines. Each coin appears identical at first glance. Yet hidden among them may be a single example possessing features that separate it from every ordinary penny around it. That possibility fuels the excitement of the hobby. Now picture a collector sitting at a kitchen table late at night. A lamp shines across rows of pennies. Magnification tools sit nearby. Hour after hour, coin after coin, the search continues. Most pieces reveal nothing unusual. Then suddenly something catches the eye. The date appears different. The lettering seems unusual. A design feature stands out. In that moment, the pulse quickens. Before we go further, here's something important. The vast majority of 2006 Lincoln pennies are worth only face value or a small premium. However, certain rare errors, exceptional varieties, and extraordinary high-grade examples can command dramatically higher prices among collectors. That's why identification matters. Take a close look at the front of the coin. You should see Abraham Lincoln facing right. Beneath the date 2006, look for the small D mint mark. That D indicates production at the Denver Mint. Next, examine the overall condition. Condition is everything in coin collecting. A penny that circulated heavily for years may show scratches, discoloration, and wear. The highest values are usually reserved for coins that remain in exceptional condition with strong original luster and minimal imperfections. Now let's discuss something many collectors overlook. Errors. Mint errors often create the biggest excitement. Look carefully for doubling in the lettering. Examine the words Liberty and I in God We Trust. Check the date itself. Under magnification, some forms of doubling may become visible. Inspect the rim around the coin. Look for off-center strikes. Search for unusual thickness. Examine both sides for missing details or abnormal features. Every unusual characteristic deserves attention. And here's where things become fascinating. Many valuable discoveries were initially dismissed by their owners. People assumed the coins were ordinary. They spent them. They lost them. They overlooked them entirely. Years later, collectors realized the true significance of similar pieces. Imagine how many treasures have already slipped away. Imagine how many remain undiscovered. That thought alone keeps experienced collectors searching. Now let's talk about another critical factor. Professional grading services evaluate coins based on preservation, strike quality, and overall appearance. Even tiny differences can create enormous value gaps. A penny preserved in pristine condition from the moment it left the mint can become dramatically more desirable than a heavily circulated example. This is why collectors often use gloves, magnification, and protective holders. One fingerprint. One scratch. One moment of carelessness. Those small mistakes can significantly affect value. Think about the journey of a single penny. Perhaps it left the Denver Mint in 2006. Maybe it traveled across multiple states. Maybe it passed through cash registers, vending machines, and bankrolls. Maybe it ended up forgotten in a jar for years. Then one day, someone finally examines it carefully. That person could uncover something extraordinary. Stories like these are what make coin collecting so captivating. Unlike many treasures hidden behind vault doors or buried beneath oceans, valuable coins can appear in everyday places. Kitchen drawers, old piggy banks, inherited collections, bank-wrapped rolls, garage sale boxes. The next great discovery may be closer than anyone realizes. And here's another reason collectors remain fascinated by Lincoln cents. The Lincoln Penny series is one of the most collected coin series in American history. Generations of Americans have handled these coins. Families have passed collections from parents to children and from grandparents to grandchildren. Every penny carries history. Every penny tells a story. Every penny has traveled a unique path. Some of those stories become legendary. Imagine finding a coin that experts initially overlooked. Imagine learning that your penny possesses characteristics known on only a handful of examples. Imagine hearing that collectors are competing to own it. That is the dream. That is the excitement. That is what sends collectors back to their coin jars again and again. First, confirm the date reads 2006. Second, verify the demint mark appears beneath the date. Third, inspect the coin under magnification. Fourth, search for doubling, unusual strike characteristics, or other anomalies. Fifth, evaluate the condition carefully. Strong luster, sharp details, and minimal wear are important. Sixth, compare the coin with known examples and consider professional evaluation if something appears unusual. Many collectors skip these steps. Successful collectors do not. The difference between overlooking a treasure and discovering one often comes down to patience. Patience reveals details. Details reveal rarity. Rarity creates value. And value creates unforgettable stories. Think about the people who discovered famous coin rarities in the past. Most were not professional treasure hunters. They were ordinary individuals paying attention. They examined what others ignored. They noticed what others missed. That simple habit changed everything. As the years pass, fewer pristine examples remain available. Coins become damaged, lost, or altered. High-quality survivors become increasingly desirable. This is one reason serious collectors spend so much time studying Lincoln cents. Knowledge creates opportunity. The more you understand, the more likely you are to recognize something special when it appears. Perhaps tonight you'll check a coin jar. Perhaps you'll open an old collection. Perhaps you'll search through a handful of pennies sitting unnoticed for years. Most people never look. Collectors do. And sometimes that difference changes lives. The possibility of discovering a coin worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even $1 million continues to inspire collectors across America. Every search begins with hope. Every coin deserves a second look. Every date and mint mark tells part of the story. And every collector understands one powerful truth. Treasures are often hidden in the most ordinary places. Somewhere, right now, a forgotten penny may be waiting for someone to recognize its significance. A coin that survived years of circulation. A coin that escaped notice. A coin that could potentially become the centerpiece of an extraordinary collection. That possibility is what makes the hunt so thrilling. So before you dismiss another penny as ordinary, take a closer look. Examine the date. Check the mint mark. Study the details. Inspect the condition. Search for anything unusual. Because history has shown that remarkable discoveries happen when least expected. And sometimes the smallest coin can produce the biggest surprise. Collectors know that fortunes have been built on knowledge, patience, and careful observation. The next great discovery could emerge from a bankroll, a family collection, or a forgotten jar sitting on a shelf. A single moment of attention could reveal what others missed. A single penny could become the find of a lifetime. A single coin could attract collectors from across the country. A single discovery could transform an ordinary day into an unforgettable story worth telling for generations. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine reaching into an old jar of pennies, the same kind that has been sitting on a shelf for years, and pulling out a coin that could completely change your life. Not a rare gold coin. Not a treasure chest discovery. Just a simple Lincoln penny. A coin so ordinary that millions of people ignore it every single day. But what if one specific 1977 D Lincoln penny was worth an astonishing $4.1 million? What if that life-changing coin was hiding in plain sight among spare change, forgotten collections, and dusty coin jars across America? Most people would never believe it. After all, the 1977 D Lincoln penny is one of the most common coins ever produced by the United States Mint. Billions were made. They passed through grocery stores, gas stations, banks, and vending machines. They were dropped on sidewalks, tossed into piggy banks, and forgotten in drawers. Yet somewhere within that massive production, a handful of extraordinary examples emerged, carrying characteristics that collectors dream about finding. The story begins in Denver, Colorado, where the Denver Mint struck Lincoln pennies throughout 1977. Day after day, enormous presses worked around the clock, producing countless coins for circulation. Workers monitored machines, inspected dies, and kept production moving at a relentless pace. Everything seemed routine. But coin history has taught collectors one important lesson. Sometimes the most valuable treasures are created during the most ordinary moments. A tiny mistake.
An unotaist die defest.
A striking anomaly. A rare preservation miracle. These small details can transform a 1-cent coin into a collector's fantasy. Imagine a worker ending a shift at the Denver Mint in 1977. He couldn't have known that decades later collectors would examine certain pennies from that year under powerful magnification, searching for clues that might separate an ordinary cent from an extraordinary one. Years passed. The pennies circulated through the American economy. Children spent them on candy. Families carried them in their pockets. Businesses counted them by the thousands. And all the while, a few special examples quietly survived. Many collectors focus on older coins. They chase early wheat cents, Indian head pennies, and famous rarities. As a result, countless people overlook modern Lincoln cents. That oversight creates opportunity, because the greatest discoveries often happen when everyone else stops paying attention. Now imagine this. You are sorting through a box of old coins inherited from a parent or grandparent. At first glance, nothing stands out. The coins appear worn and common. Then suddenly you notice a 1977 penny with a small D Mint mark beneath the date. Most people would move on instantly. Collectors know better. The first thing to understand is identification. A genuine 1977 D Lincoln penny displays the date 1977 on the front of the coin. Directly below the date sits a small D Mint mark, indicating production at the Denver Mint. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln facing right. The reverse displays the Lincoln Memorial design, which was used on circulating pennies during that era. The coin should have a copper composition appearance typical of the period, with a rich reddish color on examples that have remained well preserved. But identification is only the beginning. Condition is where the real story starts. One of the biggest reasons certain Lincoln pennies become valuable is because they somehow escape circulation damage. Think about how difficult that is. Pennies are constantly handled, dropped, scratched, and worn. Finding a coin from 1977 that still looks nearly perfect decades later is remarkable. Collectors call such coins mint state examples. The higher the grade, the more dramatic the value can become. Tiny differences invisible to casual observers can mean the difference between a coin worth a few cents and one worth thousands. This is where excitement begins to build. Imagine examining a 1977 D penny under bright light. You rotate it slowly. The surfaces glow. Lincoln's cheek appears smooth and clean. The lettering remains sharp. The fields look reflective. There are very few contact marks. Suddenly you realize you might be holding something special. But condition alone isn't always enough. Many collectors search for unusual errors and varieties. These are the hidden secrets of coin collecting. During production, dies can develop imperfections. Coins can be struck under unusual circumstances. Mechanical issues can leave behind fascinating evidence on the finished coin. When such features appear on a highly preserved coin, collector demand can increase dramatically. Experts often inspect the date, lettering, mint mark, and Lincoln's portrait for signs of doubling, unusual strike characteristics, or die-related anomalies. Every detail matters. Every line matters. Every tiny feature can influence value. Now picture a collector attending a coin show. He has searched through thousands of pennies over many years. Most discoveries led nowhere. Most promising coins turned out to be ordinary. But he never stopped looking. Then one day he notices something unusual. A 1977 D Lincoln penny unlike any he has seen before. The surfaces are pristine. The strike is exceptional. The eye appeal is breathtaking. His heart begins racing. That moment captures the magic of coin collecting. Hope, curiosity, possibility, the belief that extraordinary treasures still exist. Many people think valuable coins have already been found. History proves otherwise. Important discoveries continue to emerge from old collections, forgotten jars, estate sales, and family inheritances. Collectors routinely uncover coins that spent decades hidden from public view. Some sat untouched in envelopes. Others remained inside safety deposit boxes. A few survived because someone simply forgot they existed. The lesson is powerful. Never assume a coin is worthless simply because it looks common. The most successful collectors understand this principle. They pay attention. They learn the details. They examine every coin carefully. And occasionally, that patience is rewarded. Imagine finding a penny that everyone else ignored. Imagine realizing that while others saw 1 cent, you saw an opportunity. Imagine the excitement of sending that coin for professional grading. Weeks pass. The anticipation grows. Then the results arrive. The coin receives an extraordinary grade. Suddenly the market notices. Collectors begin paying attention. Bidding starts. Interest grows. What was once a forgotten penny becomes the center of attention. Stories like these fuel the dreams of collectors across America. They remind us that incredible discoveries remain possible. And that's exactly why people continue searching. Now let's review the most important identification points. Look for the date 1977. Confirm the presence of the demint mark beneath the date. Verify the Lincoln Memorial reverse design. Check for strong original detail. Inspect the surfaces under good lighting. Search carefully for unusual errors, doubling, or striking anomalies. Pay close attention to overall preservation. Coins with minimal wear and exceptional eye appeal deserve closer examination. If a coin appears unusually sharp, clean, and well preserved, consider having it evaluated by professional experts. Many valuable coins were initially overlooked because owners underestimated their importance. Don't make that mistake. The next time you receive change, open an old coin jar, or sort through a family collection, slow down. Look carefully. Examine every penny. Remember that history often hides in ordinary places. Remember that extraordinary discoveries frequently begin with simple curiosity. And remember that every great coin find started with someone willing to take a second look. Perhaps the most inspiring part of this story is that anyone can participate. You don't need expensive equipment. You don't need a vault full of rare coins. You don't need decades of experience. You only need patience, attention to detail, and the willingness to learn. Somewhere tonight, countless jars of pennies are sitting on kitchen shelves. Old collections are resting in closets. Coin albums are tucked away in drawers. Within those forgotten groups of coins may be pieces that collectors have never seen. That possibility keeps the hobby alive. That possibility keeps collectors searching. And that possibility has inspired generations of Americans to inspect every coin that crosses their path. Because sometimes life-changing discoveries are hidden when nobody expects them. Sometimes incredible value hides behind an ordinary appearance. Sometimes a single cent can tell an extraordinary story. And sometimes a coin that spent decades unnoticed can suddenly become worth $1 million after attracting the attention of serious collectors. That dream continues to motivate collectors every day. After all, the next great discovery could happen tomorrow. The next remarkable coin could emerge from pocket change. The next headline-making find could be sitting unnoticed in a forgotten collection. And somewhere out there, a collector is already searching for that opportunity, hoping to uncover a Lincoln penny that could be worth millions of dollars. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.